What's up, bro? So what we getting done today, man?
You can do whatever you want.
Are you trying to stick with the taper? You trying to do...
As long as you got a taper, you can do whatever you want. Keep the hair, put it
Okay,
on.
so do a taper, keep the hair, and then clean up your beard.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. YouTube. What's going on, guys? We got another haircut tutorial for you. You guys saw the consultation. It was quick, it was easy. You know, he's pretty much giving me free reign. He didn't say do a low taper, mid taper, high taper. So I'm gonna do the taper for him. I'm gonna cut it how I feel is gonna look best on him. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm using a number 2, I want to say, with the grain. Especially around the hairline and around the temple and nape areas. I'm taking this number 2 to his hairline, going against the grain. I dropped down to a 1.5 because I saw the number 2 wasn't really bringing it down enough. And really what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to pretty much contour his hairline so that when I line him up, you can see that line. You can see that crispiness. And if you look at his hairline before I start lining it up, it's really hard to what's the word I'm looking for, determine where his hairline is. His hair is so grown out. So I'm gonna line it up first because I want to make sure that we are giving him a taper and a blend that really complements the whole picture, right? And so we need to put the picture in a frame first, and then I can really, you know, get to work with the taper. All right, so I'm taking this number 3 now, and I'm going against the grain, above where we just did that number 2 with the grain. Underneath that, I got my number 2 open, and now it's clear. I'm gonna start my bald line, and now I know that I'm just going from bald to a 2 open. So we can go ahead and start with our system. It's gonna be the blade open. I'm gonna start to blend that section out, and then we'll move on. Really taking my time to make sure it looks even, it looks balanced, and you know, you don't see any lines. All right, at this point I got my number 1 guard all the way open. Right beneath that number 1 open, right beneath that guideline, I got my half guard all the way open, and I'm closing it as needed. All right, so remember, we know we're blending to a 2 open, so I don't need to grab my 2 guard. I'm just gonna grab my 1.5 guard. It's gonna be open, and I'm gonna close it as needed until I blend out this section. I might have to drop down to that 1 open again, just to really clean up the blend, but there it is. There's that 1 open again, and we're just working right underneath where we left off with that 1.5 guard. Close it as needed until it's blended. All right, and now because there's a little bit of bulk there above where we left off with that 1.5 guard, I'm gonna go back to that 2 guard open and then close it until we're happy with the results. Now this is the rough draft to me. We still need to detail it and all that good stuff. All right, so we're gonna repeat the same steps in the back. Remember, I've already like debulked it in the beginning of the haircut. Now we have the blade open. and I'm blending down from the guideline this time. So on the temple, I went from closed and I opened it up and I blended up. Now I'm blending down from each guideline. So here's my number 1 all the way open. And you can see once I drop down to that number 1 all the way open, you can see he definitely has some crazy hair growth patterns back here. And so you can see me flipping my clipper over, just trying to make sure I get it as even as possible. Because if it doesn't look like if it doesn't look like it's blended or like it's all even, then there's something wrong, and you got to troubleshoot that. Right? Just because you do that half guard all the way through, you know what I'm saying, up and down, fading up, if it doesn't look good, there's something wrong. You might have to drop down a guard, a size. You might have to flip your clipper over to make sure it's nice and even before you move on to the next step. And so here I'm using my 1.5 guard, and same thing. You can see the hair growth patterns going every which way, and we just want to make sure that it looks even. I've dropped down to my 1 guard open, and I'm closing it as needed, like we did on the temple taper. All right, so I'm gonna shut up on this side, let you guys follow along with the color guide, because it's the same steps. So just recently in Florida, they mandated, you know, that everyone in a closed room wears a mask. So when they first opened up the state and the city of Tampa, no one had to come into the shop with a mask. Only the barbers needed to wear a mask. But now everyone has to. So we can still do beards. So I just asked him to keep it on until it's time to do his beard, and then he'll take it off. But it's, you know, it's quick. So and guys, if you're part of the academy and you want to see this video, you know, in a 45-minute to an hour long format, let me know in the Discord, and we can go into more detail with this tutorial. And like you guys always know, man, when I do my tapers, I like to make sure that behind the ear it's debulked, and that just allows, you know, a nicer lineup. It just makes it look cleaner. When you look at the silhouette, it makes it look, you know, nicer in my opinion. And typically hair behind the ear bothers people, it bothers customers, and it grows out the fastest. And so I really like to add some longevity to the cut. Overall, I just think it's a great idea to lightly debulk behind the ear, especially with tapers. But I do the same thing with like all shear cuts and stuff like that. All right, so he gave me free reign. I'm doing the beard how I really wanted to, how I felt it would look best on him. So I want to keep it dark around the chin area, and I'm debulking it on his actual face. That way it just makes his face look thinner, right? And then we're gonna blend it. We're gonna add a nice blend, as you can see. And I feel like this really is gonna change his entire look, right? So when you see the before and after, and you see what a cut can do to somebody. All right, and the longest length we're gonna have is a number 3 against the grain. But I love how that blend came out. And since we have the number 3, we're gonna continue to debulk all the way around, and that'll set us up for the blend on this side. So you see I went from a number 3. I skipped a guard. I'm going 1.5. Above the 1.5, we go with the 1 guard open. Above the 1 guard open, we're gonna go a little bit closed, and then all the way closed, and then we're gonna skip the half guard and go blade open and close it little by little as we get up to the tempo area, and then it's blended. Sometimes you'll still have a line just because we balded it out there, and so that's where the trimmer comes in and does the rest of the work. It's pretty simple. With beards, it's so easy to skip guards. All right, now we lining them up. And I'm using my hitters, man, like all the way around. You can see, like, usually I don't use my hitters on the neck area, but you could just tell he doesn't have sensitive skin, so we rocked out with it. And I just love the way that they were crunching when they were lining him up, so. And if you notice the way I'm lining up the back of his beard, I'm trying to make it parallel with his neck, with his nape lineup, right? So the neckline and the beard line are almost in parallel with one another. And so I turn my client around towards the mirror. That way I can gauge the mirror and see both sides of his beard, just to make sure that it's even and it looks good. All right, now let's do the razor. And I do the razor before, like, I'm gonna enhance this cut. I know, everybody chill, calm down. You didn't need to enhance. I get it. But that's why we're gonna line him up. We're gonna do the razor first. That way you can see the cut don't need it, but we just wanna add some sauce to it and just get it next level. But watch what the razor does. And I wanted to keep it, as full as possible. And we did put shave gel in the mustache area. That's a sensitive area, and I always put shave gel on the mustache. Okay, now we're gonna enhance it, but we're not gonna overdo it. I always like to think less is more with enhancements. So. And the color I used there was dark brown. I didn't use onyx. The only time I really use onyx is if the client skin is super dark. But if you're light skin, like this individual, I'll just use I'll use dark brown, no drip, which you can get at tomb45.com. And then you can see I'm not using the white pencil, just because he's light skinned, but he's dark enough to where this will still show up like ash. Okay, then we're gonna using get beams method. We're using the trimmers, and then we'll follow it up with the razor, and you're gonna see the results. Yeah, right there was a little bit of a hump, so I had to clean it up with the razor. Now we're doing some final touches. This is the before my man was lost, now he is found. Look at that cut. Guys, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, smash the like button, let me know what you thought about the cut. Look at these angles. Try to get my man right after this quarantine, man. So guys, if you enjoyed the video, please do let me know in the comments, smash the like button, all that good stuff. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all on the next video. Sheesh.